Starship still lacks an orbital refueling demo after 13 flights, keeping the revised 2028 Mars cargo window dependent on solving that single bottleneck first. This is SpaceX Daily, episode 70. SpaceX has shifted its first uncrewed Mars landing target from 2018 to no earlier than 2028 across successive updates. The decade-long pattern of schedule slips centers on unresolved Starship milestones, according to ScienceBlog.com. The company now ties the 2028 window explicitly to completing ship-to-ship refueling and other Starship capabilities. Reports trace the progression through public statements beginning in 2016 and continuing through 2024 adjustments. The latest revision reflects ongoing hardware and operational dependencies rather than a fixed calendar date. Remember, we covered Starship progress yesterday. Today's statements keep the same refueling gate as the central open question. Starship produces more than twice the thrust of the Saturn V, yet has not demonstrated ship-to-ship refueling after 13 test flights. That capability remains the largest single technical hurdle listed for reaching Mars per Space Daily. The article notes the gap persists even as booster and ship hardware continue to iterate. Thrust comparisons highlight the vehicle's scale advantage, while underscoring the missing orbital transfer sequence. No flight to date has executed the full propellant handoff between two Starship vehicles. Elon Musk stated SpaceX will attempt to catch a returning Starship this month, according to The Motley Fool. The effort targets the upper stage rather than the Super Heavy booster. Success would mark the first tower catch of the ship hardware. The announcement focuses on the ship's return profile and tower alignment hardware. No specific flight number or exact date was attached to the planned catch attempt. From an engineering standpoint, the orbital refueling sequence begins with the need to keep cryogenic liquids at the tank outlets in microgravity. Any vapor ingestion risks stalling transfer pumps or damaging turbomachinery, which is why settling burns and autogenous pressurization form the current baseline. 13 flights have yet to close the full ship-to-ship handoff, leaving the demonstrated ability to move propellant between stages as the multiplier that collapses payload cost to Mars. The same constraint appears in heat shield tile attachment, which must survive both re-entry plasma and any extended coast before a docking event. Early flights showed tile loss near the leeward side and structural interfaces, prompting redesigns that trade mass for reliability and directly affect payload margin at refueling orbit. The ship catch attempt planned this month adds tighter control requirements than the booster catch already shown, because the upper stage returns at higher velocity with different aerodynamics. Success would validate full two-stage reuse on one flight and move the cadence needed for sustained Mars cargo traffic. SpaceX plans a new Starship test site at Kennedy Space Center per Florida today. The filing details static fire infrastructure under the Project Ignition name. This adds a Florida location alongside existing Texas facilities for engine and vehicle testing. The site would support additional static fire campaigns without relying solely on Starbase infrastructure. Permit documents describe dedicated test stands and support equipment for Raptor-class engines. SpaceX outlined a $1.8 billion Starship expansion in Brevard County, according to bizjournals.com. The plans include additional manufacturing and test infrastructure to support higher flight rates. Local permitting work is already underway for the new facilities. The investment targets both production tooling and ground support systems in the Florida region. Expansion details tied directly to increasing Starship vehicle throughput beyond current Texas capacity. Community observers tracking the Brevard filing noted how the $1.8 billion figure compares with prior Florida investments. SpaceX is scheduled to launch a global star communications satellite on an upcoming Falcon mission per Spectrum News 13. The payload supports Globalstar's low Earth orbit constellation refresh. The mission will place the satellite into the required orbital plane for Globalstar's network. Launch timing remains subject to final range and payload readiness checks. SpaceX targets a Saturday launch from Vandenberg Space Force Base, according to KSBY News. The mission will carry a classified Space Force payload. The window opens in the evening local time with sonic boom potential over coastal areas. The flight continues the pattern of national security missions assigned to the Falcon 9 fleet. Range coordination and weather assessments will determine the final go-no-go decision. Observers on X noted the upcoming Vandenberg launch could set a new same-week cadence record if the Saturday attempt holds. Unverified posts suggested the Globalstar payload may fly on a previously flown booster, though SpaceX has not confirmed the serial. Starlink activated direct-to-cell service with Airtel in Congo, per Tet Labari. The rollout uses existing Starlink satellites modified for direct handset links without additional ground gateways in the initial phase. This marks another carrier partnership expanding coverage to regions with limited terrestrial towers. Service activation enables text and voice connectivity via standard mobile devices in remote areas. The partnership follows similar direct-to-cell agreements announced in other markets earlier this year. Community threads discuss the Congo activation as evidence that the carrier partnership model is scaling faster than expected in Africa. SpaceX closed its $60 billion all-stock acquisition of cursor maker Anysphere, integrating the AI code editor team into work on Grok, according to Wowtail. Reports indicate the cursor team is already contributing to Grok-related development inside the combined structure. The deal structure includes lockup provisions that could affect near-term share liquidity for SNPCX holders. SpaceX's Cursor acquisition is described as aligning AI tooling spend with existing Starlink and orbital compute ambitions per Google News. Analysts note the move places an AI developer platform directly under the same parent as the satellite backhaul that could serve future inference workloads. The integration is expected to accelerate Grok feature deployment inside the Cursor environment for developers. On the AI front, the acquisition places an established developer platform under the same parent as Starlink backhaul that could support future inference workloads. Worth keeping an eye on, Blue Origin has begun construction of a new launch pad, adding capacity that could eventually compete for some national security missions now dominated by Falcon vehicles, according to Google News. The project remains early stage with no announced flight rate or payload commitments. Completion timelines and regulatory approvals will determine whether it narrows SpaceX's current market edge. A quick look at the tape shows SNPCX at $140. Before we go, the ship catch attempt this month will give the first data on whether the upper stage alignment systems meet the tighter tolerances required. That's the day at SpaceX. That's a wrap. SNPCX is trading at $140, down 1.4%. If you're new here, subscribe and this briefing finds you every day. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for being here and I'll see you tomorrow. And before you go, this show is part of the NARA Network, a family of daily podcasts on tech, science, and markets. Each one a short, sharp briefing you can finish on the commute. If today earned its place in your feed, here's your next listen. Environmental Intelligence, the Environment and Climate Policy Brief for Canada. Find every show free at naranetwork.com. And on the website, every episode's visuals live in our free image gallery at naranetwork.com gallery. Royalty-free under Creative Commons. Download with attribution. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.